Thomas Lane, J. Alexander King, and Tu Tao. Opening statements today begin in the federal trial of these three former Minneapolis police officers, all three charged with violating the civil rights of George Floyd. A mostly white jury was selected last week. The men are also charged with doing nothing to save Floyd's life by way of medical care. Tao and King have an additional charge for failing to stop Derek Chauvin, who was convicted of killing Floyd by kneeling on his neck for more than 9 minutes. So let's go to BNC's justice correspondent Candace Kelly and criminal defense attorney Molly Palmer. And Molly, I'll begin with you. Derek Chauvin has already been convicted of murdering George Floyd and accepting that plea deal on federal charges. How will these three former officers use that in his federal trial?
Well, we'll have to see, but I think we can expect that all three are going to essentially shift the blame from themselves to Derek Chauvin. I mean, that's the obvious defense. In this federal case, rather than the state case, what the government has to prove is basically that these three failed to act, not that they intentionally acted, which is what they're going to be tried for in the state case, but that they failed to intervene. And so I think they can point to Derek Chauvin and say, listen, we were less experienced officers. We were following his lead. We were doing crowd control, and basically use him as the reasoning behind their actions.
Candace, as they say in Texas, that dog don't hunt. And the reason in this case has to be the videotape in which they will be able to see what really did happen. Also, with regards to, I know defense attorneys love this, the state of mind. They'll be able to look at the officers' faces to see that when George Floyd was dying, the expressions on these faces of these officers was not that they were very concerned about George Floyd. It was that they were concerned with the crowd more so than rendering aid to a man who was dying.
You're right, Dal. And what we're also going to hear in this case is a lot that has to do with police procedure, police training. What was the responsibility and level of expectation of the cops on that day? Were they supposed to help and join in when it was really their superior who was really managing the day? Tu Tao could say, well, I had my back to the crowd a lot of the time, so no, not me, Derek Chauvin. We do have Thomas Lane, who did say twice, why don't we turn him over? Don't we need to do that? It didn't happen. And then we've got Alexander King, as you mentioned, he was at the back of George Floyd. So they're going to have a little bit of an out by saying, listen, this was a superior. In fact, for two of them, it was their training day. So what were they supposed to do? Tu Tao's defense attorneys could say, was I supposed to go and arrest these other officers? What were you expecting me to do? I was there on crowd control. That is what I was doing. And as was already spoken on the panel, listen, we're going to have to get into the minds and listen and see what it is they failed to do, which is fail to give the medical intervention. And then we're going to have to find out from attorneys their state of mind, as you said, as to what was going on. We can look at their facial expressions, but to hear from them or their attorneys is going to make all the difference.
Molly, Derek Chauvin has already pleaded guilty in connection with this case. Do you think we'll see him on the stand?
You know, I think we could. I actually am not sure which side he may take. Would he be a government witness? We know that he entered a plea agreement where the government's going to recommend a federal sentence of 300 months. We don't know from that plea agreement that he has entered into another agreement with the government to testify, so we don't know for certain. But the other option here is that one of the defense attorneys representing these three officers could call him in their case in chief and have him testify that it was him who had already pled guilty, who was really leading the charge on that day, who was the one failing to render medical aid, who was the one detaining George Floyd in violation of his civil rights. And that could be potentially helpful for the defense. So certainly there's a chance. And then the question remains, for which side could he potentially take the stand?
So let me ask you this. If you were the defense attorneys, would you paint Derek Chauvin as a rat if he were to testify in this case for the prosecution? How would you paint him if you were the defense attorney for these three men and Derek Chauvin did decide to take the stand?
Well, I think you would. I think you absolutely, as the defense lawyer, want to shift the focus from your client. You want to make your client seem as though he was merely training. He was a new officer. He didn't have the control that Derek Chauvin had. And that, yes, the only reason he's taking the stand at this juncture is to to assist himself. He hasn't been sentenced yet federally. His sentencing is pending in federal court. So you do want to, I think, show the jury that he's incentivized to say whatever the government wants him to say, only for the sake of bettering himself and his potential federal sentencing outcome.
Candace, where's the line right now in Minnesota? When this case first was tried, there were major concerns about what was going to happen among the citizens. The verdict came down. Everything was peaceful. Now, where does the line stand? We saw officers taking the stand against Derek Chauvin. We saw what many people said, the criminal justice system working. So now with regards to law enforcement, which side are they on in this particular conflict?
I think that the people just want to be on the side of justice. That's the bottom line. And while we haven't seen as many people hit the streets and it's not in the headlines as much as we saw the original case dealing with Derek Chauvin, they're still saying that they want police accountability. The family is saying it. People are saying it. There's still as many people around there in terms of guards that are surrounding the building because they know what could potentially come if this does not play out the way that it should. We already see that there's fallout from the jury selection. So what's going on right now is that they just want the police officers to do the right thing. All eyes are still on this case, even though it's slightly quieter outside. Well, where do we fall? We fall on the same side of justice that we did when Derek Chauvin went to trial. In fact, we're looking at this a little more, I guess, with a little more light because of the fact go away is paying attention to this to make sure that it does not go, and if it does go, it does not go unheard and without justice served.
Molly, Derek Chauvin being found guilty, Dante Wright, the death, Kim Potter, in the death of Dante Wright being found guilty in a neighboring jurisdiction. If you're the attorney representing these three men, do you try and cut a deal before this case even goes to trial?
I mean, you might, but here's the thing. The federal charges are far more nuanced and complex than the state court charges. I think that their lawyers, these three former officers' attorneys, considered the fact that maybe, given the way that this federal indictment reads, they might have a chance of getting a not guilty. But I would be very surprised. Moving forward, we still have the state court case where they're charged with aiding and abetting the manslaughter of George Floyd. There, the state just has to prove what they did do, that they assisted in some way as this man lay dying in the streets. There, I think, following this trial, we might see all three attorneys trying to cut a deal for their clients rather than relitigate these issues in the state court.
Candace, same question to you. If you're the attorney for these three men, knowing what you know with regards to Kim Potter being found guilty, Derek Chauvin being found guilty, Ahmaud Arbery, even if you take a look at it on a global and national scale, the three men charged in connection with his death being found guilty, do you roll the dice at trial or do you try to cut a deal?
Well, listen, from what I understand, these three men, they were discussing this. It was just for a hot sec, but you have to have two sides agree to what the deal is going to say, and they couldn't reach one. And I think that these three men decided, I'm going to go ahead and chance it. Because listen, when you have a plea deal, you're making a deal that I will go to jail. I think they are rolling the dice and saying, I stand a chance because Derek Chauvin, he was found guilty on the state level. Derek Chauvin was found guilty on the federal level. Let's do all eyes on Derek Chauvin and point fingers on him. And with that, at least we have the chance for no jail time. With a plea deal, though, we definitely have a chance for some jail time, because that, in fact, would be part of the deal. But nothing has been on the table just yet, and I don't think that it will happen. I think that those plea deal opportunities are over at this time. At some point, the family just wants to see the justice system play out, and I think that they want to see that in this situation.
Molly, final before we go, same question to you. If you were the prosecutors in this case, switching hats, would you accept a plea deal? Would you put a plea deal on the table rather than roll the dice at trial?
I think Candace is right. So much of that has to do with the family and their behind the scenes communication with the government, with the prosecutors, with the federal investigators. And if the family really wants to see these men go to trial and face the consequence, and they don't want them to accept some sort of leniency in a plea deal, then you respect the family and the community and the push towards some semblance of justice after this heinous, horrific act. And you have to go forward, try the case, and then ask for the maximum sentence you possibly can. But I think that decision is tied to the community input, the input of the family, and the general feel surrounding the death of George Floyd.
And a reminder of the totality of this case. Derek Chauvin has been found guilty. Kim Potter, next door with Dante Wright, has been found guilty. And the city has paid $27 million to the George Floyd family. This city has been put through a lot. This trial will continue the controversy over the death of George Floyd. BNC's Justice Correspondent Candace Kelly and criminal defense attorney Molly Palmer, I thank both of you for being with us, because this is going to be another one of those long trials.